my beautiful followers. How is everyone doing today? I am obviously in the car. I am coming home from my chiropractor, getting all nice and aligned, popped, cracked, massaged. It took a little bit longer than normal. I had intended on doing this live stream when I got home, but it took, like I said, it took a little bit longer than normal because they were closed this weekend, and so I didn't get my normal alignment. So anyway, I'm on my way home, and I was just really thinking about my last few days, both with clients, but then also just in general. So many of you know, if you've watched my videos the last few days or looked at my Facebook pictures at all, that I have a new kitten. I have a brand new kitten, and I have an older kitten that is not so sure about this whole open relationship situation, because that's really what we have going on right now, is my older cat really leaning into being in an open relationship, sharing love, sharing this love. And it really got me thinking, because I have a lot of clients and a lot of friends and a lot of just this idea and concept of open relationships and scarcity around love. And that's what it comes down to. It isn't polyamorous relationships, open relationships, however you're defining yours. A scarcity of love. It's not about the sex. I work with couples all the time, and a lot of times the man, sorry guys, you're going under the bus here a little bit, but most of the time the men are like, it's about the sex. It's about the sex. Like, that's what I don't want you having an emotional connection. And it really comes down to the emotional connection with sex that they struggle with. It's like you can have these relationships but don't have an emotional connection. You can go fuck this guy but don't have an emotional connection. As soon as their partner becomes emotionally connected, that's when things really start stirring. So it really does come down to a scarcity of love. And I was watching, like I said, I was watching my new kitten today, and I was like giving her some love and playing with her because she is just making me happy right now. She is really, truly making me happy. It's fun. It's playful. You know, she brings out that little childlike energy because she is a baby. And so I'm just laughing at the silliest of things. And so I was snuggling with her and giving her love, and my older cat came down and just like huffed at me, like, and the energy was, how could you give her love? How could you give her love? And then I went and I gave Athena, the older cat, some love, and snuggled with her a little bit, gave her some love. And they're cats, so it's a different scenario because they're cats. They don't have the necessary higher functioning that we have. But I see the same thing with my couples. I see the same thing with people who are talking about open relationships or jealousy issues. And it comes down to this: if you give this person love, if you give this person a piece of you, then that means that there's less of you for me. And that's not true. Love is an energy. Love is an energy that we have an abundance of. We will never run out of love. We never run out of love. You have a different love and a different connection to each person, animal, whatever in your life. You can have a different kind of love for them. It is unique to that relationship, and it's always changing. It is always changing. Our love does not stay the same. But we look at love as it has to be this, or it has to look like this. Or if you have sex with this person, that means you don't love me the same way. If you have an intimacy with that other person, then you don't love me. You don't, like, you're giving our love away. And the fact is, there is an abundance of love. There is an abundance of connection. And whether you choose to have an open polyamorous relationship, if you continue to have that thought process that so many of my clients right now are really dealing with and looking at, then what's going to happen is that will show up in your life in general. Show up in your life in general. Just because you love one person does not take away the love that you have for another person. And I hear couples a lot go, yeah, but this is our, like, if I have sex with somebody else, if I flirt with somebody else, that means they love me less. And I really want you to ask yourself, if that is something that you're struggling with right now, is that fucking true? Is that really true? Like Byron Katie it up. Is that really true? That just because someone has love or a relationship with somebody else, that means that they don't love you the same? Is it really true? And I want, if it's like yes, then write that out and then be like, is it really true? And then eventually you should get to a no. Because the fact is, just because one person loves somebody else does not mean that they don't love you. Now, if the love has transitioned, that's a different story. But that has nothing to do with the other person. That has to do with your relationship with that person. Because relationships are always changing. The way we love people is always transitioning and changing and in a transformation. But just because that has changed doesn't mean it's this other relationship or this other person. That relationship is that relationship. And so I really want you to think of where you're looking at your relationships in general. And this is not just lovers. This is your friendships. This is your relationships with your kids. This is your relationships with the people you're having sex with. In truth, I want you to really look at where you're in scarcity thinking, where you're like, well, if this person loves this other person or has feelings or a connection with somebody else, that it means that there's less of a connection for us. Each relationship is its own, let's say, pie. Okay? Just because this other person has this relationship with this other person doesn't take away from your pie. It doesn't take away from your love, your connection, your moments with that other person. And when we get to the concept of sex and bringing that into play, you would think that it would be just the sex that a lot of people struggle with. But in truth, I can tell you that in watching things progress with couples, watching my own open relationships, that the issues come in when there's emotion, when there's love, when there's connection. It usually is not, the issue is not just the sex. It's the fear and the jealousy around the love, the connection that's going to happen due to that sex. Usually it is not the act itself. Most of the time it is the emotions behind the act that people are scared of. And they're scared they're going to lose that other person because of those emotions. And that's not true. That's not true. And if it is true, then those emotions, that connection wasn't really there to begin with, in truth. It just wasn't there. I'm making sure I'm being safe. Hold on. I was looking in my side here. So I want you to think about if you are struggling with this issue, because I know so many people really are right now, where is the emotional scarcity that's going on? Where is your scarcity thinking around love, connection? Where do you think there's only so much to go around, and really not going into a space of abundance thinking and really stepping out of the true energy of love, and instead really leaning into the scarcity idea of love? Because that really is going to be the key to opening this up. And I'm not saying that everybody needs to have an open relationship, but it is just the thought process of scarcity of love that I want us to think about. If you want to keep your relationship monogamous, that is okay. But why are you choosing to keep your relationship monogamous? And is it because of scarcity thinking, or is it because that is just really what you're drawn to and really, in truth, what works for you, which is fine because you're allowed to have your own relationships. But look at your scarcity of love, just like my kitten and my big cat right now are really fighting over this like, there's not enough for me. There's not enough for me. When there's plenty, there's more than plenty for everybody. There's plenty of love. There's plenty of connection. And if that is what you're scared of and that is what's keeping you stuck, then I would do some that level of scarcity is around your love. And I want you to really do some deep journaling of like, is that true? Is that true? If I allow my partner to go out and, you know, even just connect with somebody else, does that mean that there's less love for me? Does that mean there's less connection for me? In truth, there is no one person. And I have this, I don't want to call it a fight, this deep discussion with several people in my life over and over and over and over again around the fact that no one person will ever, did I say ever? Be enough for you for your entire life. It's not a thing. Like, one person will not ever fulfill all your needs. You have to fulfill your needs. And there's different people in our lives because they feed us in different ways. I can tell you, I have somebody I'm seriously dating right now, but at the same time, I have guy friends, and they fill me in the masculine in a different way than the guy I'm dating, who also fills me in my masculine. I have different girlfriends because my friend over here fulfills this over here, but my girlfriend over here fulfills that girly friendship piece over here that I need. Each of us have a different feminine. Each of us have a different masculine. Each of us have different personalities, different strengths, different weaknesses. And this is the beauty of relationship. And we get filled by all these different people and all these different dynamics. I don't care if you're an introvert, an extrovert, it doesn't matter. But we like to look at relationship, particularly romantic relationship, we like to think of one person fulfilling all our needs for the rest of our lives. Amen. Don't need anybody else. And that is an unrealistic expectation. It's completely unrealistic expectation. And so look at where you're putting too much pressure on potentially your relationships. Because you're expecting one or two people to meet all your needs. And then potentially you're not meeting your own needs as well. So, all right, do that work. Look at all of that. I'm going to go play with some kittens and go do some client work. But maybe I'll do some kitten breaks in the middle. Give some love. Make sure everybody knows that everybody is loved. All right, I will let you guys go. However, go check out my events calendar. I have Tantric Alignment Puja coming up, which is hot and fiery and fun and expansive. I have the Ignited Rise experiences, which those are hot and fiery. Those are all about getting the conversation hot, really ignited, really sexually turned on, but from a conversation standpoint. It is about the turn on from the orgasmic energy, not necessarily the sex. So those experiences are going on in September. I also have my free Aphrodite circles going on in Plano in the next week or two, so go check those out as well. You can find all that at addisonbell.net. Other than that, like, share, comment, help me get my message out there, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another Addison Unleashed. Bye, guys. Love ya.